I bought this Final Fantasy Special Edition PS4 on eBay for $100. The seller said it was untested and never opened. It's pretty gross on the outside, and I have no idea what I'm gonna find on the inside. Let's get right into it. Typically I would take the bottom plate off first, but this top is actually the easiest and quickest place for us to get our first look inside of here. And that's what I'm curious about, so here we go. I wondered at first glance if it was just some kind of sawdust or something, but we definitely have some husks of roaches here. First, let's get this hard drive out of the way. It's like a combination of roaches and this fibrous dust that has built up on the inside of here. This warranty is about to get voided. That one just looks so alive still. It's not moving, and I don't think it is, but okay, it is dead. Ugh. I mean, you want me to take my time and show you this, right? I think this is going to be a bit of a clean as you go project. Before I flip it back over, I know I'm gonna want this screw right here to remove the power supply. All right. Now we can remove this top officially. Oy. And get a little bit of this cleaning done. Ooh, another little collection here. Want to make sure to grab this plastic not by the bigger white part, but just by carefully the outside of this inner part that goes in. It's kind of stuck with this roach goo. I'm trying not to break the little sides of this thing. It can be tough. Some people recommend just pulling on the wires, but a lot of people really caution against that because you could pull those wires right out of this. For me, that's an easy plug to replace. I have tons of those around here. But anytime we do any restore-ish level projects, we obviously want to try to keep as much of the original tech intact. This is being really stubborn though. All right, slow and patient. Got it. I replace any of these power supplies that have had roach infestations in them. Roach feces smells terrible, and as clean as you can make one of these look, you never get rid of that smell without replacing this. Just one security screw here. Not near as stuck on that one. We have a pile of screws to take out now to remove this plate, so let's get a little help. I realize as I'm doing this that I've got two different lengths of screws and I don't remember which ones were which, so we're going to be consulting iFixit's guide to put it back together. Did I miss anything? A couple of screws on the side. The last one of these that I took apart had a little bit of a different setup, and this entire housing area for the hard drive was one complete unit. Let's see if that got it. There we go. Looks like at least on this part, the bug stayed pretty well out of the system. We got some corrosion around this chip here. We'll get it all cleaned up and look at everything under the microscope and see if there's anything we can see. I'm curious if this has actually never been opened up like that warranty sticker suggested. Why there are two different colors of screw holding this clamp down? Would PlayStation have just put it in like that, or did someone dupe that warranty sticker? I think the second is more likely. We'll want to watch out for these 3 pads that came off of the chips here. We actually don't need to remove this wire because we already disconnected it from the other side. Here's the other side of our board. Definitely going to need some TLC. Just want to take a second to point out this USB port right here. Look at this. Ugh. A few more screws for this plate. Here's our heatsink. And so gross. Let's give you sickos another tour here. That is as caked up as I've ever seen a heatsink. Gross. Alright, we will take this apart further. I like this. On this model, you can actually remove this metal plate from the housing. One black screw right there. Nice. And we have one of these little clips right here. Kind of a pain because they're easy to lose. I gotta remember where this one goes. Oh no! We had another clip fall. I didn't see where it came from. I'm hoping my video footage will show me. If not, I may have to find another one of this exact model and see if I can figure it out. I always feel funny about putting these plates in because of the metal parts right here on the underside. Water can get trapped under there really easy, obviously rust. So I have to be really careful about making sure to blow that out with air and get it completely dry. But it's totally worth doing that in order to be able to get the cleaning power of the soak on this bug grime. I also normally don't soak this metal or put it in the water because I'm overly paranoid about rust. But I'm going to try it this time because I've learned on some previous projects that as long as I make sure to get it really dry quickly, I'm usually okay. I am going to save these little pads. All right, let's give that a little time. Let's get out our isopropyl alcohol. I'm also going to use some alcohol wipes today that are safe for electronics. Specifically these instead of the normal cleaning wipes I use because I want that alcohol to help cut the smell and the grossness and basically try to sterilize this thing while I clean it. I wanted to believe that this was tight enough that I wouldn't have to disassemble it in order to make sure that it's fully clean, but I can see a few gaps here. As much as I don't like taking these apart, I think I need to. I'm guessing there's a hidden screw under at least that sticker. Let's try from this side first. Probably won't be using my makeup brushes for most of the clean here because I don't want to get all that grossness all over them because I keep using them. But this is pretty light work right here and I'll go ahead and use it. This board looks pretty good, but I'm just going to give it a quick going over anyway, if for nothing else, then for the smell. That makes me realize I don't need to take this plate off because that's the part that's sealed really tight. I'll go ahead and put those screws back on here and we'll just put this back together. Okay. Good enough. For the most part, this funny little metal shield is easy to wipe off and clean. The only issue we have are these corners where a little bit of rust. And how does that rust happen? Well, ask yourself, how do these roaches introduce liquid on the inside? So I'm going to use a very fine sandpaper here. Since this metal is on the inside of the system, I'm not worried about making it look pretty or the scuffing that's going to happen from the sanding. All I want to do is remove the rust and stop it from corroding further. And that is good, the very definition of Restorish. This one is significantly more corroded. I just don't want to get the discoloring rust all over my nice gray mat. All right, I'm tired of sanding by hand, so let's try this. Well, I don't hate that. I think it works pretty good. The underside of this cable. Wow. Yeah, that tape's done. Okay, we're gonna try to clean this fan, but I'm not perfectly optimistic. Let's make a mess. What is all of that color? 50 bonus points to whoever correctly guesses. That was just purely an initial surface clean, not the deep clean at all. But just to show what we're dealing with here. Lovely. Let's hit it again. All the fans I've cleaned, I've never seen one this color. This brown of a goo. Let's try some of these now. I don't prefer the waste of using these disposable cotton swabs, but I also don't prefer to do this to my makeup brushes. I'm going to take a little break. The fumes that come from this WD-40 contact cleaner, which although it is powerful and effective, they're a lot, and I need to get some fresh air. We're going to double wash this stuff. Let's just give it a first initial brushing here, get most of the surface stuff off, transfer it to a different bin, get some hot soapy water again, and then give it a more careful clean at that point. More little pads that I overlooked. I'm not going to scrub this with this heavy bristle brush because I don't want to risk damaging that pretty moon that's actually underneath there. There are a few small pieces floating around in here, including those little rubber washers. Let's get a little more soap. Oh, we'll just take this piece at a time. A little bit more of a careful clean. And honestly, this probably won't even be the last step. Once we get this stuff cleaned and dried, we'll be needing to give it further attention. Switching to a softer bristle paintbrush, just to kind of get in some of the places that the stiff bristles are going to overlook on their rougher path. This also tends to really suds up the water. Anyone out there into Final Fantasy? I've played parts of a couple games at different times, but it's a franchise I never got into. I am a big fan of some modern JRPGs though, notably Octopath Traveler 2. It is one of my favorite games. This is that same brown stain that was all over the fan. I think it's going to take something more than this soapy wash to lift it. Still, this is a good first step. I'm wondering if that is a nicotine stain. It's very tar-like. Let's go rinse and dry this stuff off. I'm going to speed up this process and just show you the before and after on the clean on this power supply. Here it is. Just kidding, I replaced it. Because I don't want this console smelling like roach poo every time it gets warm. I'm going to wipe some of the bigger stuff off of this motherboard, then after that we'll get a little deeper clean. These USB ports are gross. Alright, let's make a mess. There's just so much grossness on here that I'm kind of going over all of it with this brush. Then we'll take a look with the microscope and see if there's any corrosion that we are having trouble seeing with the naked eye. I'll go ahead and remove that. These little pads just won't stay on here, so we're going to take them off, put them with all the other ones that have come off, and we're just going to have to remember to put them back when we reassemble this thing. All right, now with this soft makeup brush, kind of a better gentle clean, but also with the IPA tends to remove the mud, dust, dirt. I'm going to spray a little contact cleaner in these ports and try to clean them out with a brush with a little bit longer bristles here. This little piece of foam under here, it's kind of shot. Here's the gross ones. Let's spray them out first. Yeah, see, I'm getting some dirty water that's coming out of there. Let's wipe this up so we can see what's new. We'll use this WD-40 contact cleaner, which is a little more powerful spray. I just don't like it as much because the fumes are a lot more potent. Ugh. That really got some stuff though. Both of these pieces right here came out of that. Okay, we're gonna let that fully dry and then take a look at it with the microscope. I'm gonna surface clean the outside of this first and then we'll open it up and see what's going on the inside. The underside of this ribbon cable is part of where we have some of that staining that again, right now I'm assuming is from smoke. It's kind of a tar. It will come off, but not easily. Look at that stuff. I didn't expect anything else under here. Okay, that's enough of a surface clean. We need to look at this stuff that came out of the wash. A little bit of cleaning that still needs done, but also, unfortunately, quite a few scuffs on this thing. We'll try polishing it up a little bit here at the end, because as much as possible, we really want to be able to see that nice moon part of the design. That spot really stands out. I hate doing this anywhere near the design, but very gently and carefully try removing this spot here with the magic eraser. I don't like what that's gonna do. Yeah, I'm chickening out, forget that. I don't wanna do that on the glossy surface. I mean, any level of abrasion is going to risk putting micro scratches on this glossy surface or ruining the artwork that's here. But that white spot is kind of an eyesore. Can't tell if that's getting better or worse. Let's just leave it. I'll take a look at it all at the end. Trying to clean out the little etched in Sony and PS4 here on the front corners. When we're all done, we have some polishing wipes that we're going to use. Otherwise, I think we're good for now. Let's set that aside. With this one, we did get a lot of that gunk cleaned out. There still is a little bit in here. We're just gonna kind of go back to what we've been doing on the rest of the stuff here. I didn't notice this until now, but this bottom plate actually has a little 15 mark down here in the corner for the Final Fantasy 15. So technically this plate is not replaceable with just a standard PS4 Slim plate if you're wanting to keep this as a Final Fantasy edition. Oh, what is the deal with you? Okay, that's good for the outside. Even though I dried this really, really well, there's still a little bit of rust on here, but I didn't cause that. That's actually from the bugs. However, I do want to de-rust this metal here, so we're gonna do the same thing that we did with the other stuff. All right, that's all I wanna do. So we have two separate issues we're dealing with all these metal plates, the stain and the rust. We'll try wiping off as much of the stain as we can, and we'll treat the rust just like the other stuff. One thing I am happy about though is how this heatsink turned out. Nice and clean on the inside. A piece I have usually replaced in the past. I'm just gonna wash it with soapy water and make sure to dry it off really good from now on. Let's start with this stain. I am getting some of that color coming off on here, but man, what a pain. I'm gonna try the alcohol wipes again. Those do seem to cut it a little better. Hard to tell maybe on camera, but I am getting stuff. Whatever this stuff is, I don't like it. Let's try the magic eraser. I hate that it's kind of working, because my arm's already sore. I don't enjoy this. Alright, not perfect, but it's better. It would have been so much easier to just replace this one. Use eye protection. Good enough. Also, I'm kind of a moron for not using my eye protection when I started with this thing because I didn't realize or even think about these little metal hairs getting thrown everywhere, and then I realized my mat was covered with them, and it's a good thing I didn't take one of them in the eye. I switched it out. I'm not going to use it anymore. And I'm going to use my eye protection all the time now, like even when I'm not working. Alright, before we put this thing back together and test it out, let's look at this board under the microscope. We have a little bit right in here. Let's consider the other side. Those are a little corroded, but they don't matter. It's just soldering pins on the other side. It's not hurting anything. No harm, but it's dirty. It's not hurting anything, but I don't like it. Corrosion on this edge here is not hurting anything, I don't think. It's all contained to that outer rim. Maybe a touch right here. All right, I think we're finally ready to put this thing back together and find out if it even works. All right, now that we're done putting it back together, I'm gonna go over it with some protectant wipes, see if we can make this surface look a little better. I really like these wipes because they make everything look shiny and polished again, but it also doesn't make it greasy. Let's take one more quick before and after look at it to see where we've come, and then we'll test it out and see if it works. Once again, before I test this, I want to remind you that we bought this off of eBay and the seller said they didn't know if it worked. We didn't test it when we got it, so this is our moment of truth right here. So let's find out what happens when we hit the power button. It has energy. It's been a little while since I've messed around with the PS4. I do remember having this screen before, and I can't remember if that's a good sign or a bad sign. Huh? I think it's booting up. Yes. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and completely reset this system, boot it back up, give it a full testing, and make sure everything works. Assuming it all does, we're good to go. So I'll see you on the other side of the test. All right, I've tested everything I can think of, and it all seems to be working perfectly fine. We'll need to give it some longer playtime testing to make sure everything holds up, but for now, that's gonna wrap up this video. If you have an item that you think would make for a good Restore-ish video, I'm gonna leave a link to our Tronics Fix page down in the description where you can start a dialogue with Steve about that. And if you enjoyed this video, I'll have YouTube put a recommended playlist down here in the corner of all the other systems I've cleaned that had bugs in them. Thanks for hanging out with me. We'll see you next time.